Dripkit podcast, episode 1. The first time that we're doing this, we brought a special guest here. We got Max from Siegelman Stable. Huge up-and-coming streetwear brand that I feel like everybody knows about these days. And I wanted to shine some light on the space that we work in every day and more of the streetwear industry as a whole. So
appreciate having me on episode 1. I feel like start with a bang.
You got to, right?
So that's the plan.
Mainly just wanted to, get you in here, introduce yourself, introduce your brand, how you've been so successful, and let us know about it. Open floor.
Yeah, successful is an open term, I guess.
That's true.
I consider it so far so good.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still a lot to do, but yeah, started Siegelman Stable a little bit over a year and a half ago in the beginning of the pandemic. So Siegelman Stable is still not like my full-time thing. I still have a full-time job, but it sure feels full-time more and more.
Feel you.
But was traveling a lot less with clients on projects and stuff, and decided to kind of like take my dad's racing stable that he's had since the 80s, hence the 1982 on the hat.
Definitely.
And kind of take his brand and create a streetwear brand out of it and make a run for it.
I love it. I love that. I mean, I live in New York City, obviously, and I'm seeing it everywhere. Like, I'm not kidding. The other day, I was out at a softball game. I'm like, these hats are everywhere. I got to hit up this guy. I got to see what his deal is. And I'm generally just curious to learn and also obviously inspired by what you've been doing. So
yeah, hopefully not seeing too much. Like, the whole concept for me is, like, I want to make, like, affordable stuff that's, like, luxe and still, like, nice and, like, amazing embroidery and detailed and all that. But I want to make it affordable, but not as like, I don't do huge quantities, which has been good for me. And like, you see it like on the Real on resale. You see it on like Grailed for like double or triple the price. Like, there was a hat last week that sold for like $110.
Wow.
And that was like that was pretty wild. I was like tracking it after someone posted it just to see if it would go.
Right.
So to me, it's like creating a little bit of a scarcity, but still having a product that's not $1,000 for a hat.
No, I completely understand, and I could speak for the Dripkit and my brand, and I try to create that high demand as well too. And really what I'm trying to do, and my goal is to just build a community of people that really enjoy the brand. And no matter what you drop, whether it's a hat, hoodies, joggers, like, they're going to be there to support that brand and not necessarily the hat or the design. But they want to be part of that bigger community and be part of your brand. And I feel like you've done a really good job of building that tight-knit community, even though you're doing the scarcity, high-demand product.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix of, like, when I first launched the brand, I always said that a portion of proceeds would always go to equine therapy programs.
Great.
So, like, still do that with every drop, and donate to, like, local equine therapy programs to, like, where the drop's happening. So if we do a drop in another country or another state, we make sure that we find an equine therapy program, like, in that location to give back to. So I think that is one part that, like, helped start building the community from the jump. But I think, like, the big thing for me is, like, I may not have 100,000 followers on Instagram, but, like, the 4,000 that follow us, like, immediately as soon as I drop something, will jump on the website.
Yeah.
Like, the most fun for me is at like 12:59 if I'm dropping at 1 to look how many people are just like chilling waiting around.
Insane.
For it. Yeah.
Insane. Yeah, and like, to me, I think we could speak about, your favorite part of having a brand, but for me, what I really enjoy is having that community of people that don't know me, I don't know them, but we connect through like a hat that I made, and that's awesome. And I'm kind of similar to you. Like, I don't have the 10,000, 20,000 followers yet, but everybody that I speak to, I feel like we're connected, and that's awesome. I've never felt anything like that in my life until I started this brand.
I mean, I think for me, it's been also like throughout the last like 10 years in like the workforce, just the work world, like after school, whatever you want to call it. It's like always been about keeping relationships and communicating with those relationships
100%.
to maintain them throughout everything. So I always say, like, you may not have an ask the first time you meet that person, but if you keep that relationship and like keep it real for 6 years, your ask might come up, or they might just see that you're working on something that they're interested in knowing more about and hit you back. So like, for me, it's been like, the community for me has been like all of my relationships and connections for the last 10 years. And then now this is like building a separate community that a lot of those individuals are moving into.
So you mentioned like that 10-year aspect. I mean, I've been working on this brand for probably like 2.5, almost 3 years now, and it's definitely not easy. And I'm fortunate enough right now, like I'm kind of experiencing a little bit of the peak, and I kind of accredit that to just the hard work and not giving up. Would you be able to speak on the process and how it started and some hiccups you might have had? Because obviously, as an entrepreneur, it's not going to be perfect. So speak about a little bit of how you got to where you're at.
Yeah. I mean, there's hiccups every day with stuff. So it's like I didn't work necessarily in fashion. Like I've consulted with like designers or creative directors or whatever before, but never had to do it like myself. So I like, it was a do and learn as you go situation. But for me, it's like I never set out to do, to make this community facing or a public facing brand. I was basically making stuff that I wanted that was representative of like a family name stable that my dad started in the 80s. So I put like a few $100 into hats and sweatshirts, either gave them to family and friends or sold them to like what they costed me, and then just kept reinvesting it back and did it like 8 to 10 times over. And then once I started posting it on my own social media, people were like, how do I get it? So I was like, whatever, set up a Shopify. 2 weeks later, did a drop, sold out, did that a few times, just kept reinvesting the money back, and then decided to move on to the next layer of it and kind of just give it a go with dropping full capsules, seeding a bit, and like sending it to some people who I've met throughout the last 10 years of work or projects I've worked on in the past. So that all of that, those steps kind of benefited to like where I'm at now. But like I said in the beginning, like I feel like there's so much more, and I feel like this summer is going to be a sprint pretty much for us.
Yeah. I mean, similar to you, I really didn't have any fashion background either. Growing up, I could always remember like I was obsessed with new Jordans, Kith, Supreme, streetwear like that. I always was wearing things like that to stand out, but never had any sort of like designing background history like that. It was really just, when I wanted to start this, it was more of like, let's build something that's dope, like dope designs out of, left field type things that people have never seen before. And that's my motto. So my motto is always like to never fit in, always stand out. Not necessarily in fashion, but literally anything in life, your job, with family, friends, just making sure that you as a person, when you're wearing my brand, you're feeling like you're, at your best self.
Yeah, I think for me it's like a little bit different because like this logo on the hat and the main logo that we have on like the sweatshirts and crew necks, and we've done a bunch of others since, was like the OG logos from like from a family business, right? So they're like, my mom created these logos in the 80s, so it was like I was just now recreating like my dad's story and putting it out in a different way. And then obviously it would evolve like from a fashion sense or streetwear sense into different things and different designs and stuff. So it's basically me telling my dad's story in like a fun, different way. So like, like when I see someone like wear the hat or the sweatshirt like in public, it's like, my fucking name's on it, right? Can we curse on this? Like
you can curse.
Yeah, like my fucking name's on it, right? So it's like, it means a lot, like in that sense.
Yeah.
And then obviously we have some stuff that doesn't have our name on it, or it's a collaboration with a name on it. But I think when your name's on it, it's like real like realness to it.
100%. I mean, for me, I could speak to, like, there's no better feeling than walking down the streets of New York City and you see somebody like wearing a Good Girls Are Cuffed hat.
Yeah.
Like the first time I saw that, I dropped this. But the first time I saw that, I was like, what is going on? What is my life? Like, this is not supposed to, like, I knew it was going to happen, but then to see like all these people posting and tagging on social media, it's like a surreal feeling.
Yeah.
And I know you could speak to this too, like being in such a tight-knit, saturated community, to see results is like really rewarding for me, and I'm sure it's the same for you.
Yeah, I think it started, it was like I would get texts from people like taking pictures of like random people on the street, and like maybe the first few pictures that I got, I was like, oh, I know that person. So I was like, all right, that's whatever. Yeah. But then I would start getting random pictures from like across the country, or someone in like an airport in like the middle of nowhere, and I had no clue who that person was, and I was like, damn. I was like, then I feel like you start to feel like you're in the next phase. I also went to a museum like a year ago, like the Met or something. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. And we walked in, and the first thing we saw was a dude in the crew neck. It wasn't even a hat. Wow. It was like the dude in the crew neck, and I was like, all right, we're out. It's all the art you need to see. Yeah. So I was like, when you see it in the wild, it's crazy. Like I still get pictures from people like all over the place. And then when like you start to get international orders, on like a daily basis,
Yeah.
then you know it's real. Like my third biggest market for me now is Toronto and other places in Canada. So it's pretty
And
wild.
what do you think that's from? Like,
Horse racing's pretty big.
Yeah.
Up there. I think early on we had a few lifestyle influencers and fashion influencers catch on to the brand early, and just had that like horse affinity, and like and I think that's also a part
Right.
of like why you saw certain maybe hip hop artists like gravitate to it. Is like just there's something about the logo that like brings the heritage of like the heritage or aspiration of like either wanting to own a horse or go to the horse track. And I think that was a big part of the first phase of marketing.
Yeah, and you mentioned the influencers and hip hop, and that's definitely something that I want to speak to. I mean, if anybody watched the Heat game last night, I mean, Dwayne Wade is courtside with Gab Union wearing the hat. That's insane. Like, I was watching that last night. I was like, gonna sit down with him this evening.
It's
and
helpful.
speak.
He was born in 1982, and that's embroidered on the side, so it's helpful.
So speak on, because I've tapped into the NBA market, the hip hop market as well, not to the extreme that you have. So could you speak on how you're getting in touch with these people, how you're getting them to wear the hat, which is the next step, because it's easy to send the merch, but are they gonna wear it?
Yeah,
So
I think that the latter part you just mentioned, it's
Right.
like, yeah, you can send it to them, and are they going to wear it? I think you just need, like, if you think your stuff's dope and you think that they're going to like it, then that's the risk you take in seeding it out to them. Like, there's never a guarantee. So I think, like, when I first set out to do this and started gifting a few people, it was more so, like, who has somewhat of a connection to horses, like, who rides horses, who owns horses, like, where they grow up, and, like, trying to figure out different ways to, like, spark their interest in it. So, like, Future was the second hip-hop artist. The first one was Gunna, and I'm not sure his affiliation with horses, but I mean, he was, like, in the studio in, like, tight leather pants that probably cost, like,
pushing P.
a few $1,000, and then in like a Siegelman Stable crew neck that we sold for like $66 or something. So the second person to wear it was Future, and I think I manifested it because when I was doing all this stuff in my studio by myself during the pandemic, it was like Future music videos on repeat in the background. But I would also hear in the back of in the music in the background was like, he says horses a lot in different songs.
Does he? Yeah, I can
hilarious.
see that. I can see
so
that.
in like my handwritten note to him, I like quoted like 2 of the songs. I don't know if that played any role in it or not, but he ended up wearing it in a music video, and that was like for me a okay, keep going moment, not a make it moment, but okay, keep going moment.
I really like how you said that, because for me, I don't think I've had the like you made it moment, and I don't think that I ever will, just because like I love doing this so much. I don't think I'll ever really stop.
Yeah. I mean, if someone had me $1 billion tomorrow, I'd wake up and still figure out how I'm gonna get 500 units of whatever made tomorrow. So
I love that you said that, and like that speaks to the craft that I believe you and I have. And it's just, if it was just for like financial reasons, I don't think that we would be in this spot today. I'm not sure if like you could agree with that, but the financial value of selling a hat, it's not what drives me. It's the fact that I created something, I built something, I marketed something, and now a random person in Tennessee, in Florida, in California is seeing what I'm seeing. And that connection is way bigger than finance for me.
For sure. And I think it's like, I mean, so I did a pop-up last summer, and that was like, at the time I was like, oh, no brainer, but like also looking back at it, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, how am I, like, I had no idea what I was doing. But it was an amazing learning experience.
Kylie Jenner is wearing your hat.
Well, she didn't wear it back then. But so I did the pop-up with the Hambletonian, which is like one of the biggest harness horse races in the country. And the opening night, I like kept going back and forth. I was like, am I going to sell stuff in the opening night? Am I not? And I'm doing like all the checkouts like on my phone and like on someone else's iPad. And it was like literally no clue what I'm doing. I'll repeat that. And we had like 80 people in the store at one point and like 60 people on the street. And it was just like craziness for like 4 hours. So I had the spot for like 3 days. We ended up selling out in like 2 days and 1 hour. Like ended up closing shop early. So I think like you learn a lot when you're like trying to figure out those risks, but you also like, New York's home base for me, so I knew I could rock it. But like I'm planning another pop-up that's definitely not home-based for me, but in collaboration with someone, which will be helpful. So I think like when you start to test out like these different markets to see kind of what you really got beyond your Instagram community or your social community or whatever your community, your email community, whatever, I think you really start to like see where you can branch out into different ways.
Sure. And like today's day and age with social media, it's crazy. TikTok, Instagram, and you have these influencers, not necessarily Dwayne Wade or Future or Torrey Craig, but they have such influence, and they're whatever they're doing, their dances, they're doing this and that, and I've been able to get merch to them and really seen an increase in spike from something like that.
Yeah, I haven't messed with the TikTok game too much yet, and I get yelled at by a ton of people. I have a few friends who are like heavy into the TikTok game, whether they have their own agencies or just their own pages. It's definitely somewhere that I need to figure out more as it continues to grow. But for me, my main focus and the majority of like the content I put out and a lot of my sales is all driven through Instagram.
And are you the only person pushing it? Is it just you? You have a partner? Any help?
Solo dolo.
Solo dolo. Me too.
Yeah.
You could speak on that as well, but for me, at this point in time, like that's how I want it.
From like an investment standpoint, or like
no, not investment. Because in investment standpoint, if someone gives you money to run it, I've been offered money for a piece of the company. I would never do it just because I don't want anyone else's ideas to get in the way of what I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I say by myself, it's like also like my girlfriend and I. Like she's creative director. She helps with everything. I mean, as of today, we still do our own shipping, but that won't be long.
Like a warehouse, is that the next step?
Yeah, I mean, we have an office that we keep stuff in, but definitely like a fulfillment center and stuff like that is close to happening. But yeah, I agree. I mean, like if you were to bring in money, whether it's like influencer money or celebrity money or like real VC money, like you have to answer to someone, and you have to have like real forecasting. Like you really need to be on your shit. Not that I'm not, but it's at some point gets less fun.
Yeah.
But at some point you also need money for stuff, right? Like there's definitely projects that I could do. I'm still going to do them that I could do maybe quicker if I had extra capital.
Yeah.
But I've been offered money and I've said no, and I think if someone were to come to me and be like, "What's your business plan?" Like they probably wouldn't like the answer that like, it's in my head, but it's forever changing. So
100%.
A collab could come your way tomorrow, and something needs to be pushed back.
Yeah.
So just things keep changing, and I think it's just too early for all that.
Yeah. No, I
today. Ask me tomorrow.
And like that's another thing too, like being on your own and not even really knowing what tomorrow brings. It's just like anything. I'm at the point right now, and I'm sure you are too, like anything could happen. Like I'm not surprised when someone with 1 million followers, DMs me and says, "I want this merch," or they like my picture.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, that's the thrill and that's the rush that I get from running this business.
Yeah. I mean, typically like I'll get DMs from people with like millions of followers and be like, "Hey, like, can I get this hat?" And like my answer is always the same. It's like,
what is it?
We don't give free stuff away. Like
that.
a portion of all proceeds goes to equine therapy, and like that's legit like top 3 most important things anytime I do something. So it's like me giving you this hat for whatever it costed me is money out of an equine therapy opportunity for someone that actually needs it. Like a person with 1 million followers, like if you probably have $46 to buy a hat.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that, right? It doesn't mean I don't gift people, right? Like if a certain person were to send me a message or someone on their team were to send me a message and I think it makes sense and I think it will help grow the brand and drive other sales to, again, get to that goal of being able to donate a decent amount of money, then that's a business decision that I make, and typically I would do that.
Yeah.
But a rando with like 1 million is probably not going to get plugged.
Right. No, I get a ton of messages every day. Obviously friends who were there from the beginning and never really bought, but now they're like, "Oh, like I really want this hat," like, and they expect free stuff. It's tough for me. Like I'm in a tough spot when people ask me, but I do what I can.
Depends on the month. If it's a good month, maybe you'll get a hat.
Yeah, but it's kind of just like now that I've seen the work that goes into it and the price that I charge, like you should want to try to pay full price for things at times. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to ask for a discount, if you're going to ask for a free hat, that kind of like takes the work that I put in and kind of discredits it. And I don't see it as that in all cases. If someone would explain that to me, they're like, yo, I really like your hat, but like I don't have the bread for it. Done. Here's your hat. Post it. Now we're good. But when it's the other way, I kind of get in like sticky situations with that. I don't know if you've been there before, but like, is Future, he's paying for it.
Certain times.
He's paying for it. Okay. He's going on your website. He's buying it, or his team is.
It's probably not him.
It's probably not.
It's probably not him.
Yeah.
But certain times for sure. First time around, definitely not. Like when he wore it in the music video, not that I knew he was.
Right.
Like that was obviously like a early seed for me.
And you're pushing that organically, like.
All organically.
All organically.
Yeah. I've spent $0 on marketing, other than gifting a handful of people.
Okay.
And like someone asked me the other day, is like, how many people do you gift like a month? And I'm like, I give like maybe 8 people a year, and
Right.
I've been doing this for not even 2 years. So it's
Wow.
like, I've been lucky, but I've also, again, like I've built up like a lot of really good relationships in the last 10 years. And I think it's like one of the few times I'll ever give myself credit as like, I'm an over communicator.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have friends that make fun of me, but I'll always say is like, I try to talk to 150 people a day,
Yeah.
whether it's text, email, call,
Me too.
Slack, like whatever, 150 people a day.
Me too.
Today I woke up, I said 300. I didn't get there yet.
Yeah.
Still got a few hours left.
Something that I'm big on, like, I always reach out to my new followers, and I don't know if brands do this. I think it's a great tip. I just literally say thank you. Like, thank you for following me. You might not think it's a big deal, but I do. I appreciate that. And that a lot of times turns into the community, like I said, that I'm trying to bring. And, it makes it more tight-knit. And having that sort of like relationship with people, obviously, like I said, I don't know them, they don't know me.
Yeah.
But we're connected through a hat, or we're connected.
No, it's
through
big.
a
Early
brand.
on, when you're building community, you have to be like active all the time.
Yeah.
Like if someone sends you a message, like I'll try and respond as soon as they send it.
As soon as I can, yeah.
But in light of gifting, I do gift UPS drivers.
I did want to hear. I did want to speak on the UPS thing, because they work their ass off. That sometimes goes unnoticed.
My UPS driver is my homie at this point. Like,
So
I mean,
what's
you
the
don't
deal with
get
that?
you don't get your order unless he comes through. So I made the Kendall Jenner colorway. So it's
You got it on you?
The brown.
You got it on you, right?
The brown and black, but with gold, and then the UPS logo on the side.
That's sick.
And I'll randomly, if I'm driving, I'll randomly pull over if I have them in the car and give them to a UPS driver.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm walking around and I see one, I'll give it to them. But it's like,
And you always
they
got
look
merch
dope.
on you.
What?
You always got merch on you.
No, I like never started. I've never walked around with it, because that's when you get people asking you like for shit all the time.
Right.
But the UPS hats I walk around with, because only if you work for UPS you can get them
You could get it for free.
for free.
For free.
Yeah. So I'll have like, as soon as I had someone took a video, it was with me, took a video and posted it, and I was like handing the two UPS guys hats, or girls, and had a UPS driver in like Ohio message me, and I was like, how do I know you're a UPS driver?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, and like stumbled across like how to figure it out. And I was like, next time you're in the back of the truck in like your full outfit, send me a selfie and then send me your address. So like,
Yeah.
he'll be getting his hat the end of this week.
Done.
And it's not to say I don't send like international orders and stuff with USPS and DHL. Nothing against them. It's just I rock heavy with UPS.
That's nothing against. I'm actually USPS.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a difference, but
Yeah.
the plan
it's like
that I'm
United
on-
States Postal. It's like the blue and white.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying I don't know if there's a difference in like service level. That's what I'm
Nah.
saying, but
I don't know.
They
They're all working hard. I just happen to
definitely
like
and
the colorway of UPS better.
They,
maybe.
and that's another thing. Like a lot of dope companies, and I do it too. Like you take a well-known logo and you kind of put your spin on it. I see a lot of people
Yeah.
doing that too, and I guess you could say it's unique in a way if you're gonna do your
it's
own
a little
thing.
lack of creativity, but
Yeah.
if I'm putting it next to mine, I feel like it's all right.
And no, the UPS thing, it really like it's a credit to just brand building.
Yeah.
Like who thinks of that to do something like that?
My
And
crazy ass.
yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur, especially in this field, like your mind always needs to be working, and I think that's because there's so many people, there's so many brands, and if you stop for even a day or a week, someone's gonna pass you.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of people I've seen like look at my stuff and then I look at their stuff and I'm just like cool. Like
100%.
Like they might have like followed me early on or bought something early on and worn it and got a ton of comments, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna go do my own thing, which is cool. Like, I think there's space for everyone, so like I never downplay anyone's shit, and I'm sure those individuals can sell a ton because they have a personal following or whatever, and that's fine. Like, don't care at all. I just think there's plenty of room for anyone and everyone.
Has anyone ever tried to literally make your exact hat on the street?
Yeah, my lawyer sent a lot of cease and desist letters.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that what you should I do that?
If someone's copying it and you want it.
Yeah.
I had, after I did a collab with Anwar Carrots, I had a bunch of knockoff, like, websites try and just, like, take the logo and slap it on, like, a $3 t-shirt. And my lawyer sent the cease and desist letters, and they're pretty much all gone now. So now, at least when you go to, like, Google Sequence Stable and you go to, like, shopping, it's all, like, secondary market, like Grailed and Real and stuff. So, but before that, I mean, I don't think the most intelligent, if you see, like, a $8 t-shirt that says Sequence Stable, you're probably not going to buy it anyway, but a random might.
And when that happened to me, when I saw somebody in the Bronx making it, I was, like, pissed. I was like, why did someone steal my stuff? Like, how did this happen? Spoke to people about it, and they're like, yo, like, I see it as a compliment now.
Yeah.
Like, there's...
Well, it's hard to trademark just a saying also.
Yeah.
Like, I have a trademark on both logos.
That's
so
true.
So it's like...
Same.
I have a little bit of extra security.
Right, but people don't know that. They're still going to try. They see some dope, they try to make a buck off of it.
I'll get a letter real quick.
But, no, but I was just saying, like, when I saw that, my initial reaction was upset. And then I kind of sat back and dealt with it. I was like, people are really trying to not only, like they're trying to mimic it, which is crazy, and they don't mimic like an Old Navy brand. Like they mimic the best brands in the world. So when I saw that happen, I was like, this is, a pretty cool moment.
Yeah.
Something that I was upset
about.
Culture
clout they're going for.
It was clout. Yeah. It was clout. And
that's cool.
I mean, to speak on clout, I guess you can. It really comes down to, in today's day and age, who's wearing it and are they posting it? And I think you've done a really good job of making it evident that people are wearing your brand. That's dope.
Yeah. I think it just speaks to like the logo and people's like affinity to horses, and have it be like a little bit of a aspirational thing, because I don't think everyone rides horses or owns a horse or anything like that. So I think it's cool.
But you turned that into streetwear, which is
a bit,
which is awesome to do, right? Would you describe it as streetwear?
Yeah, I think it's like, it's fun because like I have a fun mix of it, right? Like if you look at like the design and the drop I did with Anwar Carrots, you would definitely be like, yo, definitely streetwear. But if you look at some of like the OG crew necks and like some of like the more simpler colorway hats, it's maybe like a little bit more like higher end luxe, like maybe like look of like a Sporty and Rich or something.
Right.
So it's kind of like a cool crossover. So like each capsule has its own thing. I think the last one, the Yonkers one, we had like a fully embroidered jacket, and just the colorway of like the white and green. I'm actually not sure. The white and green was like like more of like a classic feel to it, so it felt a little bit more higher end.
I like that. So what's next? Like where do you go from here? What are your thoughts? Do you have any collab partners coming in? Don't want to give too much information away, obviously, but what are your thoughts about improving next?
So we have a few collabs coming this summer. First one is coming in July that will also include a pop-up and then have an online drop like a week after with an individual that will go unnamed, and the pop-up location that will also go unnamed. But it won't be in this country, so it's a little bit of a risk for me, which I think will be super fun.
Wow.
It'll be overseas, so definitely looking forward to that. And then we're also getting back with the Hambletonian, which I mentioned is like one of the biggest horse races in August, first weekend in August every year. So we're going to do another collab with them, which will be all online. And then we have one more in September, November timing with the NBA team, which will be available online, but also probably either a pop-up or some type of experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're gonna do some big things with that.
Hopefully.
I don't want you to give too many pieces of information away, but what I'm curious about is the process to get to that NBA team, and who are you communicating internally with said team? Yeah,
so I said it now a few times. It's like relationships, and like I'm fortunate enough to know someone through past work in the organization, who introduced me to the person who handles the collaborations.
Got it.
And they were cool with the brand, met them in person, showed them some ideas and some concepts, and we're down for it. So, I mean, I'll always go back to like keeping relationships, and over communicating might feel like a lot, but it's better to over communicate than not communicate at all and have them forget you. So
Definitely. I mean, growing up, not only was I big into fashion, but sports is top of my list. And I feel like I've situated my brand where anytime an athlete, I get the chance to give to them. I always do, just because it means so much to me, and I respect what they do more than anything. Huge Giant fan. Haven't been able to like work directly with any of those players, but that's what I want to do moving forward, just because, as you know, personally, meshing those two together would like mean the world to me.
Might have to introduce you to Leonard Williams then.
Let's do it. Let's get Big Cat on here.
There's one more that I have in the fall, probably. I'll just leave it as like continuing my relationship with Puma, and we've done like 2 events at the New York City store, flagship store, where like you could come in and kind of like make your own Siegelman Stable Puma collab stuff. So continuing my relationship with them and doing a really cool project that hopefully will happen either in the fall or early 23.
How was your relationship with Leonard Williams?
Leo, I met. Leo's been to a family Thanksgiving with me before.
Really? Is that an LA tie or is that a New York tie? I know he's part
New York tie. So I was
tie.
super close with Buster Screen when they were together on the Jets.
Yep.
And I traveled with Buster for a little bit, just on some like work stuff.
Yep.
And Leo was on a bunch of those trips, and him and I got along. Have a lot of similarities. And then he was around. I think they had a game like the day after Thanksgiving or something, or like the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
This year?
No, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And he was on the Giants. It was his first year on the Giants.
Yeah.
What was that? 4 years ago? Something like that.
I think he's been with us for like 3 years now.
Okay, so his first year of the Giants. Yeah. They had a game like the Sunday after the Thursday of Thanksgiving, and I was like, yo, if you're around, like we do Thanksgiving at supper in the East Village every year. So I just invited him, and
he pulled up.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I saw him one night at Catch Steak, met him, and I try not to let my like fandom get in the way, but every time I do run into these celebrities, whether it be New York or Miami or on the street somewhere, I always try to plug my brand. Yeah. Not as like a in your face type of thing, but yo, like if you're interested, here's some merch, and I always send it that way, because those relationships go a long way. I'm fortunate enough to be really close with Naheem Hines, who's on the Colts, and he's not like the biggest NFL player in the world, but really supports what I've done. Yeah. And I just think it's really cool to see someone like that support the Dripkit.
Yeah.
Just because of you know, growing up like that, watching him play, him not knowing who Eric Lerner is by any means, but he knows what the Dripkit is. I think that's like super special, and I hold that really high.
Yeah, no, it's great. We probably have different approaches, because I'd probably never say anything. I'm probably a little bit more shy. But if they made a comment about something I was wearing, I might say it. But usually that's when I look up for like a layup from someone I'm with to be like, oh, tell them about Siegelman Stable. But like, I'm not very good at
that. Last night I was impressed. I was like, I see D Wade, he's wearing the hat. I go on Instagram, and all it is like a repost. I'm like, wow, that's really humble. I was like, I don't know what I would do, how would I approach it if Dwayne Wade's wearing my hat courtside at a Heat game. Yeah. And I will say
it's the second time he's worn a hat.
Yeah. So, D Wade?
Yeah.
Where was the first?
Sometime around Christmas, he was wearing from our Breeders' Crown, which is another big harness race collection. Him and Gab both wore the stuff.
Really? So he comes from.
But it's the 1982. I'm telling you, it's like
that's
it helped.
What it is.
It helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coincidental.
No, you know how it works. I don't even like. He comes from the Met Gala. Now he's courtside wearing your hat, and they're only wearing the best of the best. Like they have their choice. They have design.
So when we first saw it, I was like, "Damn, the outfit's good." Not even the hat. I was like, "He's wearing like Louis Vuitton sneakers. Always. I don't know what pants he was wearing. He's wearing like a Valentino hoodie,
dripped up
and
all times."
I was like, "He looks good."
Crazy. Yeah, so like when Torrey Craig of the Suns is wearing the hat, that tunnel entrance, I guess, what the athletes are, that's like their runway. That they're putting their best outfit on. They know TNT, ESPN, everybody's tuned into what they're doing. So he had the full Heron Preston fit, jeans, t-shirt, and then this good girls are cuffed hat.
My best tunnel shots are Tim Hardaway Jr. though.
I did, yeah.
He'll
Speak
rock.
on that. Speak on Tim. I know that.
He'll rock with whatever. Tim was a rando. Tim, like, got his address, sent it. He DM'd me after he got it, like, thanking me for it. And has just been, like, a supporter the whole time.
Right.
Like, he's, like, one of maybe, like, 3 or 4 people I've ever made custom pieces for.
He asked for custom?
He doesn't. I asked him, I was like, yo, I'm going to make this hat. Like, you like this design, I'll put it on the side. Whether it's, like, I think I had a hat. I made him a hat that had, like, horseshoes with an 11 in it or something like that.
Okay.
But I've been talking to him. We might have something together.
Get some of your sleeves?
Yeah, we might have something. But he's just like he's just a dude. Like, he's a homie.
No, these guys are top of the line. Like, we sometimes lose sight, I guess, because we see them on TV and they make all this money. But at the end of the day, they're normal people, and you got to treat them as such to a certain extent. But I'm not gonna lie, like, when I get those DMs, I'm like freaking out and like showing my friends. It's cool.
Yeah.
But you know, they relate to you, like I said, about your clothing brand. They don't know necessarily who I am, but
yeah.
And that's really cool and that's really special.
Yeah, and I think for me, like I said before, is like my name is the brand, so
Yeah.
it's like it's a little like got to be like a little bit more careful, I think,
Right.
when I'm doing certain things. But I think it makes it that much cooler, like when someone's rocking it.
Who would you choose out of today's NBA? And like as far as like clout goes, I just feel like since it's the NBA playoffs, the light is shined brightest on them right now.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. If you could pick one NBA player, who would you have wear your stuff?
Damn, that's a good question. I'm gonna answer it because I would just love like Luka to show up in a hat and Tim look at it and be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, it's more of a personal like what the fuck moment. Like, how do you even have it?
I love it.
Versus like a clout chase moment.
I
Like,
love it.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. But
Luka.
yeah.
Maybe
I think
Luka
it'd
could
be
get some
funny.
to Mark Cuban.
Listen, Mav's old logo's a horse.
That's true. That's
So-
true. The green one, right? Like the green.
It's like green and royal.
The green jersey.
Yeah.
See, like Luka, the best at what he does. Huge marketable guy. But I look at someone like John Morant just because
Yeah.
he embodies what I would want to be if I played basketball, like
Yeah.
on and off the court. And if I were able to like match him up with one of my hats, that would be like insane for me.
You could get it done.
Yeah.
Confident.
No, yeah, I appreciate that. That's like I said, they're normal people. They got millions of followers, but it's just a DM.
Might
Like
get lost in the DMs, but just keep it going.
The-
I was listening. I'll leave it at this. Like we were listening to a podcast the other day, Jay Shetty,
Mhm.
and I think one of the things he said was like he has zero shame in the DM game, and he's Jay Shetty. Like, he could probably reach out to whoever.
Right.
He's like, I probably DM Cristiano Ronaldo 100 times, and he's never seen it.
Mhm.
And he's like, that doesn't mean I'm ever gonna stop, because when he does see it, like, something will happen.
Right.
So like, to me, that's like reinforcing is like the over communication piece and just like taking the risk.
Mhm.
Like, I think the biggest thing to me is like a lot of people are like, how do you get to these people? And it's just like, I don't take a fucking chance.
Yeah, dude, like
So
the,
so take a chance, go DM them
everything is a chance. I mean,
100 times.
all right. I'm gonna start now. I got a list of guys.
Just go tonight when you're laying in bed before you fall asleep. Just DM them all. Who cares?
Dude, if I showed you my DMs, I'd look like a fangirl.
So whatever. Keep fangirling. Someone's gonna answer.
I'm actually I'm trying to work on a project with an unnamed NFL guy coming up. I want to call it Football and Fashion, and I want to really like shine a light on that runway period of when they walk into the to the building and have my merch at least once a week. Like, that's how it really builds steam. Like, I want it to be seen, if it's going to be football, every Sunday. Like, one guy from the league wearing it, and I think the unnamed player is going to help me get it to that point. So
Do it. I got faith.
it's all about faith, bro. It's a leap of faith. I didn't think. Another question I have for you, like, as far as like doubters and supporters go, what was that like when you were starting? Because I know for me,
Yeah.
you could take it from there.
I don't know who it was. I don't even want to call the person out. Someone though was like, "Who the fuck's gonna wear a Siegelman stable hat?"
Right.
And that was kind of just like, "All right, fuck you. I'm gonna do it." So yeah, I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Most of the time, the people who say that haven't gotten what you got accomplished done.
I agree.
So, whatever.
I agree. I mean, for me, it's almost I almost feel like the majority of people start off doubting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could attest to that, but And then once they see it kind of start to evolve, as you have D Wade courtside, they're like, whoa, like, I didn't think this was going to happen. And me, in turn, I'm like, fuck do you mean you didn't think this was going to happen? Like, this was my plan the entire time. I told this to you. You just didn't want to listen. And that's kind of like the whirlwind that I've been right now with even, like, my closest friends.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of, like, I still need to prove to them that I could do it.
Yeah. I think you just change your mindset that you don't have to prove it to them. Just, like, do it, and who cares? Like, at this point, like, I don't care what anyone says to me, like, whether it's doubt or, like, why you gonna, like, there's always a reason that I do something. Like, someone might look at, like, the NBA team I end up doing this collaboration with, or someone else I do a collaboration with, and, like, that doesn't make sense, just, like, doing it because they're a bigger name. But, like, I would never say yes to something that didn't make sense to me. So, like, if you really don't understand it, you can always ask me, but, like, kind of just brush it off.
You ever think of quitting?
No, I've been doing it for just over a year and a half. I was like, I'm just warming up.
Just warming up. I like that. So how big are your aspirations truly for this brand?
It changes every day. I mean, I literally think there's so much that could be done, and there's so much growth where it's like, I'm just at the beginning. Like, I think that there's, like, some collaborations I have coming up where it's like brands that are, like, been around for years and years and years, for, like, established and everyone knows them, would pay tons of money to the collaborations that I'm going to do in the next few months. And I've just been fortunate enough to get them, whether it's inbound or just through conversations or introductions. So it's just, like, keep it going, see where it goes. Like, I don't, there's no 5-year plan, there's no 1-year plan, 2-year plan. Like, just keep growing it and keep staying consistent. I think that was, like, the biggest piece of advice. One of the biggest pieces of advice was one of my friends said in the beginning, who's worked in fashion forever. It's like, just stay consistent.
Stay consistent.
And that's it.
And I think you mentioned that this is your side thing. You have a full-time job?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. And, I mean, this is just a question. Like, it's difficult to do both, right? Because I'm so passionate about building my brand. Every single day I want to work on it. I have new ideas for it. But at the end of the day, like, I have another boss that's, like, paying my salary and my bills. So how do you balance that? What's the relationship like?
I'm in a lucky position where, like, everyone I work with is super supportive. Obviously, all of that work comes first, and everything I put out for them is super important and done to as if I didn't have anything else going on.
Got it.
But I think the number one thing is, like, the people I work with and work for are just, like, super supportive. I'll get on Zooms and the CMO will be wearing a hat or a sweatshirt. Like, so I think I'm in a fortunate position. I don't think it happens to everyone, so I can't speak on everyone's situations, but for me, I've just been fortunate enough to be in a good position.
You mentioned the Real Real. I actually worked for the Real Real. It's a great company. I started working there because I envisioned that one day, both brands would align. Maybe Dripkit could be on their website or something like that. Unfortunately, never worked out, but for me, the way I see it is I'm my own boss. I work every day to build my brand, and it's tough because I don't like anything to get in the way. Yeah. And obviously, as you know.
Balance. I mean, I played soccer in college, so it's like the balance of, like, work and sports and personal life has always been, like, a big thing for me. And that's kind of, just got to balance it out.
Yeah. You ever feel like how much, when I go out now in New York City in the social scene and I don't wear my hat, I feel like I'm in a shell.
Yeah, I don't do that, so.
No? You always have the hat on?
Always.
See, like, I gotta start.
I don't even wear the black on black hat because you can't see it good enough.
When people are like, oh, let me wear your hat, like, good girls are cuffed, let me wear it, like, let me take a picture, and I always tell people, I'm like, no, like, you cannot wear the hat. You could go on the website, you could buy it just like everybody else. I'm not giving you my hat.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it's like a sense of like you feel way better wearing your own hat because it's kind of like a reaffirmation that you're getting your brand out.
I don't have any other hats at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't have much of anything else at this point. I, like, literally don't buy anything anymore.
It's just Siegelman.
Stable or die.
Stable or die. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, everything.
All of it. The shirts that don't have any Siegelman stable on are samples.
Got it. Got it. See, like I still wear my streetwear stuff, my Kith, my Supreme, my Palm Angels, everything, and I like to pair it with my hat, or like I like to pair it with a pair of sweats. I think that makes both brands look better. Get content in that and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. What else we got?
Might be all I got. Giving away maybe too much.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to give too much information. Obviously, we spoke off camera about that, and I respect the shit out of your brand. And the second I had the opportunity to chat, I was like, let's rent the podcast studio. Let's shine a light on some of the things that we do that people might not realize.
Yeah.
And you know, it's hard. It's not easy, and I think that it needs to be spoken about more, and hopefully we can inspire some people to do the same.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I appreciate you having me on and being able to tell a little bit more. And obviously, first episode, so hopefully,
first episode,
hopefully get some other people out of it.
Yeah, maybe we could work on some Leonard Williams type deal.
Maybe.
No, that's awesome, Max. I appreciate you. Siegelman Stable, you want to tell a little about where you could find your product?
Yeah, you can find it on SiegelmanStable.com. Also follow at Siegelman Stable on IG, and should probably launch a TikTok, which I already have at Siegelman Stable. So
you should
get on all that.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. I hope everybody that took the time to, listen in. We're excited for the future. These are going to be two of the up-and-coming brands that maybe could be in your local Saks Fifth Avenue within the next year or so. I don't know if you want to do that, though.
We'll see. Day by day.
We'll see.